Anthony Mikulka III.
The American college debt crisis is a serious problem, which is leaving a burden on many new college graduates and previous graduates alike. Roughly 70% of all students who attend college will leave with college debt that is waiting to be paid off as graduates look for jobs and opportunities. The majority of students who attend college are required to take out hefty loans in order to pay for their tuition, and many fail to pay these off as years pass. As we're all college students at the moment, we find that it is extremely prevalent to our audience and setting at this time in America. Congratulations, class of 2019.
In this video, we will observe the background of how college debt has become the norm, how different college loans work, what percentage of graduates face college debt, and even the impact of college debt right here at Jefferson University.
This section will include the background on student debt. In 1840, student loans were first offered for Harvard University students. Public loans only arose around the 20th century. This was only done through the universities. Before 1950s, only 5% had a college education. When the Servicemen's Readjustment Act in 1944 was passed, the number of college graduates tripled. This allowed veterans of the Second World War to attend college using federal benefits. This still only resulted in 8%. After the passage of the Title IV of Higher Education Act in 1965 did only federal student loans begin. A year after this, the National Association of Student Financial Aid Administrators was established to help students through financial aid. Trouble borrowing started to pop up late 1980s. More than 1/4 of student borrowers owed more than $10,000 in student loan debt. Adjusting for inflation, this is equivalent to over $21,000 today. From there, student debt continued to grow. Some reasons for these rapid changes include increased tuition cost, reduced state spending, borrowers' behavior, and choice of major. The rising cost of higher education makes it harder for graduates to pay expenses, such as the general cost of living and health insurance. The college debt crisis is continuously making it difficult for college graduates across the United States to pay back their exorbitant college loans.
Student loans. This is Crash Course for student loans. So we're going to talk about student loans and how they correlate to college debt. So student loans are sums of money you borrow for education and pay back over time with interest usually. Loans are often a part of your financial package from the college you're going to attend. We have a couple different types of loans. There's federal government loans, there's private loans. So direct loans are loans directly from the government, also known as Stafford loans. There's two categories of loans from the government. You probably saw these on your financial aid package when you got it from Jefferson when you first came here. Subsidized loans are the interest rate accrues while you're in college. So as soon as you take out that loan, you sign the document, the interest is accruing from the day you take out that loan. Unsubsidized loans, the government agrees to pay that interest from the date the loan starts, and then 6 months after you graduate college, you have to start paying that interest. So then it falls on you. So on both of these types of loans, there's an interest rate, and it's set by the government every year. Right now, the interest rate on these Stafford loans is 5.05%. Interest rate is the portion of a loan that is charged as the interest to the borrower, typically expressed as the annual percentage of the loan outstanding. So 5.05% is the interest on loans for undergrad students. It's about 6% when you get in graduate school. Now, aside from loans, you might see on your financial package that there's grants and scholarships. This is money that doesn't need to be paid back. It's given by the college, and that's provided by them. So in order to get these loans, these grant scholarships, unsubsidized, subsidized loans, you have to fill out the FAFSA application every year. The FAFSA is the financial application for federal student aid. There's a couple different types of loans that come with the FAFSA. You fill it out, they assess your family. You have to fill out a few things like parent salary, savings, stuff like that. When you get your FAFSA back, they'll assess your financial situation, and the government decides what kind of loans you're gonna get. Another two types of common loans besides subsidized and unsubsidized that the federal government will offer you a financial aid package once they access your FAFSA. There's Perkin loans and there's Direct Plus loans. These are both loans from the federal government. Perkins loans are borrowed directly from the college for students with exceptional financial need. The government pays the interest while you're in college. Direct Plus loans are directly from the U.S. Department of Education, and the interest accrues while you're in college. So I would advise to you as your financial advisor to pay that interest back before you even graduate so it doesn't keep accruing. So now I'm going to talk about some statistics that go along with student loans. The average student loan debt for a student in the United States is approximately $33,310 according to Carter. At a 6.6% interest rate, it would take 5 years with a monthly payment of $653.31 to pay off your student loans. That is approximately $8,000 spent per year on just loan payments. According to 61,000 respondents, the average time to pay off student loan debt is approximately 21 years. So you're gonna be strapped down for a long time if you're taking these student loans and you're not worried about paying back the interest. This pretty much sums up Crash Course for student loans with your financial advisor. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Thank you.
Today I'm going to be talking about the financials at Jefferson University, our school. For a full-time student at Jefferson University, which includes taking 12 to 18.5 credits each semester, it costs that student $19,747.50 each semester, which adds up to $39,495 per year. And then for living on campus, which you have to do unless you're within 15-mile radius of the school, it costs $6,295 to live in the freshman residence halls, and then for the next years, depends where you live, but it could be more or less depending on where you choose to dorm. And then for the meal plan, as a freshman you have to get the 19-meal standard plan, which is $6,430. And then for other years that follow, you can either get the same one, a bigger one, or less, depending on how much food you want to eat. So $53,776 is the grand total tuition cost at Jefferson University for 1 year, including the tuition, the meal plan, and the room housing.
So this astronomical tuition cost is the reason that college students nowadays are in such a financial burden.
Okay, we're gonna play a really, really fun game about guessing the debt for different college majors that we have here at Thomas Jefferson University. Today, I'm gonna have some of my guests in the audience guess the different debts for different majors. The first one will be health sciences. So, Brandon, what do you think is the average college debt for a health science major?
I'm guessing somewhere around $3,000 to $4,000.
Brandon, I'm sorry, that was a good try, but you're out. That is actually $161,772. Our next contestant, Chuck, is going to guess the average debt for a law and society major.
Law and society, I'm gonna go with 50,000.
So that was a better guess than Brandon's, but you're still off. Law and society major actually gets $140,616 in debt. In round 3, we're going to guess the average student loan debt for an architecture major.
I don't know much about architecture, but I'll guess 203 million.
Ashley, I don't know how you got in here, but the actual student loan for architecture majors is $58,539. For our final round, we'll have a surprise contestant guess the average student loan debt for a business major. Surprise! I'm the last contestant. For a business major, I'm gonna go with $42,000 in debt. So that was actually the best guess so far. The average student debt for a business major is $42,000, so good job. And then so all these averages were obtained from the New America Federal Education Budget Project.
Good morning, Jefferson students. I'm your host, Brandon Schnell, and today we're going to be speaking with a special guest, Chuck McCulka. Chuck is an acclaimed statistician who wants to know the dangers of college debt and how many people of all ages in our nation are facing the repercussions.
Morning, Brandon. Glad I could make it out for the show. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, Chuck. We're glad you could make it here today. I know many people who are personally affected by college debt at the moment. find it to be one of the most prevalent issues in society at the time.
Yeah, for sure. I couldn't agree more. At the moment, student loan debt is actually the second highest consumer debt category, only being beat out by mortgage debt. This is very surprising as it beats out many normal debts you'd expect, kind of like credit card or auto debt or things like that. So a lot of people imagine usually, you go to college, get a good degree, you get out and make money, but it's often far from the truth.
Wow, Chuck. I would never have expected student loans as the second highest consumer debt. I'm certainly surprised. So with college debt being such a popular form of debt, how many Americans are affected right now?
Well, according to an article by Forbes, there are currently 44.7 million Americans that are affected by college debt. And the interesting part about this is that it varies greatly by age. So when looking at the specifics of age, it's interesting to look at this chart I provided by Value Penguin. In the year 2017 alone, graduates under the age of 30 led the pack, as many would expect. The next 30-year-olds followed them, along with 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds, and 60-year-olds. So we still have some people out there that are over 60 years old paying off college debt, which is insane to think of, to put that much time into college and still have to pay it off that long. So although the younger generations dominate the borrowing, it's still surprised to see that there's so many older Americans still strangled by this debt.
That's pretty horrific, Chuck. So what percentage of all college grads have debt?
Well, as of 2019, 71% of all students who graduate from college will have some form of debt, no matter what the size, which is surprising, as that's a shocking majority of all college students. And for these students that graduate with debt, many of the burdens they have are very, very heavy. On average, the normal student will graduate from the class of 2017 with a debt of $28,650, and it only continues to grow larger in certain majors and degrees and programs that are completely nationwide. So, very terrifying stuff.
Yeah, certainly. So Chuck, why does this issue matter to you personally?
Well, for me personally, I'm still a continuing student striving to become a physician assistant here at college, and it's very worrying for me as I'm going to be going on to grad school eventually, which from statistics we've seen show that there's even more debt, even more that you're going to have to pay off eventually as you grow up. And although the field I'm looking at has pretty good job placement and a promising future, I'm still worried that I'm going to have to spend a large portion of my income into paying off that debt for a lot of my younger life. And I have many friends too who already graduated college and they struggle a lot with paying off their debt. I've seen people that have to move back in with their parents, ask them for auto payments, just different things like that that I really don't want to put on my parents and I don't want to put on myself either. So overall, I think college debt at the moment is something that's extremely serious in America and often doesn't get the light that it deserves.
So as a statistician, why do you think our audience should care about student loan debt?
I think the audience needs to care about student debt because according to the U.S. Federal Reserve, graduates now owe a cumulative $1.569 trillion, which is a ridiculous amount of student loan debt. And every year, the amount of student debt just continues to rise. We've seen this over the past decades, and it doesn't seem to be stopping anytime soon. So this greatly affects how a lot of people budget their lives and live out their lives. And student loans are also one of the only types of debt that can't typically be discharged. If you declare bankruptcy, you're not allowed to. So once you have it, you're pretty much stuck with it.
Yeah, I've heard that
And
before.
Yeah, it's a terrible thing. So if you fail to pay back the student loans, it'll also damage your credit score and negatively affect your Social Security benefits. And even in 2015 alone, 173,000 Americans had their Social Security benefits reduced due to student loan debt.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy.
So what national impact does this student loan debt have on our country?
Yeah, well, on the bigger picture, student debt could possibly cause another housing crisis. You might ask why. It seems kind of weird. But students are stuck living at home a lot of the time, as I said earlier, with their parents. It could put a gap in the economy as less people are buying homes and a lot more are being built. And another big thing is that according to Entrepreneur Magazine, they also mentioned the possibility of another Great Recession being triggered, which also seems a little dramatic. When you think about it, banks are loaning out way too much money to people who can't afford to pay it back. And usually when this happens throughout history, we've seen that taxpayers are the one who will be responsible to pick up the tab, as no one else can really afford to do it. So it's a very dangerous time if we don't worry about it pretty soon.
But we definitely saw that in previous decades.
Oh, sure.
Our economy. Well, thank you, Chuck, for joining us.
Of course.
It was a pleasure having you on the show this morning. I definitely learned a lot about the student loan debt crisis, and I'm sure our audience did as well.
I hope so. That's the intention. So thank you for having me, and I hope to see college debt decrease in the future.